Every single top investor I know understands the importance of delegating their chaos. And if you don't, you're leaving deals and likely your own sanity on the table every day. I'm Jen from The Kick Assistant, and today I'm going to break down how top investors are finally delegating their chaos so they can close more deals, move faster, and actually breathe again. Let's talk about how your first or next DA is the secret weapon behind your business momentum. Most real estate investors and solopreneurs I know are not just running a business. They're fielding cold calls, warm leads, comping properties, chasing paperwork, juggling like 10 deals and forgetting 3. And really just feeling like they've got way too many balls in the air, right? Like they're always busy, always running around. There's just that constant hustle and flow, which isn't a bad thing, but it feels really overwhelming a lot. Your inboxes are where leads go to die, right? So you'll miss follow-ups and you miss deals. It really feels a lot of times so much to me like I'm when I see this happening, I feel like these people feel like they're drowning. You know, they're losing money by being their own lead manager, their own transaction coordinator, their own assistant, and still trying to be an executive. The CRMs really only work when you work them. I mean, let's be real. You're not updating tags mid-deal. You're not adding process, creating process, intentionally building those important parts of your business because you don't have time. Chaos compounds when you don't have a second brain keeping things in motion. Systems don't scale without people, especially somebody trained to think and act with you in mind. So having an assistant around to bring in this idea that things can grow and things can scale and somebody can take all of these kind of what feel like lower impact things that really are a big impact overall, having that person there to be able to do that can really unlock your potential and really bring you up in ways that you have never really imagined. A solid EA can come in and manage your CRM, organize your data and information by taking all these things this information that you're taking in every day when you learn about clients and you learn about deals, and it feels like sometimes it's hard to keep it all in order. You handing that off to a good EA, they can put that into a CRM, organize it and track it more clearly so you can always find everything you need. Beyond that, they're going to be able to come in and schedule appointments for you without you even having to be there. And the closer you get to this person, the more they know who you are, what you need, what works for you, what doesn't. Whether it's the idea that, hey, sometimes he only likes to do appointments, at a coffee shop on Thursday mornings, or, maybe you have rules around, I don't ever take internal meetings between 9 and noon. Those are things that your assistant will be able to learn to track and to be able to really implement on your calendar so that you don't even have to worry about who, what, when, where. They can jump in and do that for you. And what about the research you have to do to go through and really figure out whether it's information about a neighborhood or about a property or about a deal or about a client? You have a solid EA come in and do that research and be able to dig that out for you. That's going to help you immensely, right? And then all of these deals that you have come in, because I'm sure you have a ton, right? They're going to be coming in. There's going to be this flow and you have all this stuff happening and trying to keep track of where it's all coming in, where it's all going, what you're supposed to do with it, who's going to follow up. All of that stuff can be handled by a really good EA. Now, granted, down the line, you might decide to hire a lead manager or something like that. But for now, while things are being established and figured out, bringing in an EA that can line that stuff out and then maybe one day even train a lead manager, how is that not going to unlock more of your time? So when you're looking at deal tracking, you have an EA come in that can really, set up a tracking board or something inside Asana, Trello, Monday, whatever you're using, where you can see every step from the offer submitted to the contract signed to the title to the close. How is that not going to free up your time and really elevate you and help you scale your business? Delegating doesn't mean disappearing. It means assigning ownership. You stay the decision maker, your EA becomes the driver. So many business owners that I know have frequently feel like because they've always been the driver, they've always been the one in that seat pushing everything forward, it's really difficult to let some of those things go. But being able to stop and look at things and ask that question, is it essential that it's me, is key. you'll find that there is more often than not opportunity for you to hand some of those things, whether you hate doing them, whether you enjoy doing them. Sometimes even the things we like to do are really taking up way more of our time than we should. So being able to understand that maybe you're the best at that, but maybe somebody else could get it to 80 or 90% of what you would, and it's not going to mess anything up if they do. Those are the things that are really going to unlock your time, your freedom, the impact you want to make in your business. More often than not, I have found that executives especially are really good at putting their assistant inside this little box and assuming that we can only really do, a few specific things. Those are the things that I know she's good at. Those are the things that, I've always handed her that I know she can do well, and keeping their assistant out of bigger picture things, or really focusing on items beyond what you believe their scope could be. It's super important to remember, though, that your EA is not just a scheduler. They're not just there to schedule and organize your time, which they are that and generally are really good at that, but that's not all they can do. They really should be becoming this true strategic partner for you. One thing you really need to stop and ask yourself is, if you had to step out of the business today for maybe a week, a month, however long, could your assistant keep that machine running? So in order to get this person really to that point, because it's really difficult, it's not something that can happen overnight. It's not like something that can be built in tomorrow. You have to build that relationship with this person. You have to be able to step in and truly unlock their potential to be who they really can be and what you really need them to be, right? So you need to start involving them in daily stand-ups, whether it's with you alone or even company-wide. So showing them things like, hey, this is what's on deck here at the company for the week. This is what are where are our bottlenecks at? Helping them figure those out, helping them be involved in how to unlock those kind of things is the real way to create that sense of ownership, that sense of loyalty, and helping them grow that true like CEO think that a lot of assistants really can be skilled at if they're given the opportunity to do so. The truth is that more often than not, this really just comes down to including them. You need to make sure that they're involved in as many meetings, as many conversations, as many deals, anything that they can be part of, bringing them into that fold, into that loop. So often, I can't tell you how many times I've been with an assistant that has no idea what the heck is going on in the company they work for. I've had assistants who barely know what the company they work for does because their exec really isn't including them. But then the exec will complain to me that their assistant isn't, stepping up and becoming that person, but they lock them out of meetings and they keep them out of conversations. If you want this person to be able to think like you, to think for you, you need to have them around as much as you can. You need to not only beyond that, teach them, the what the company does, what we're doing here, but the why. Why is this important to us? Why is this deal important to us? Why is this core value important to us? Why is this relationship important to us? Why are we doing this thing? Why are we making this a priority? All of those things need to be explained. They need to understand that just as much as you do. It's creating that sense of loyalty, that sense of accountability, that sense of ownership. The more ownership that you can really impart down, whether it's through your assistant or through your entire team, the more effective they're all going to become. Really empowering them is where it really comes, like, you'll see so much more shine come out of them in the more empowerment that you can give your assistant. There's been so many times throughout my career where I had the rug pulled out from underneath me because I thought I was empowered to do something, and then somebody else came and took over whatever I was doing, and nobody talked about it or anything, and I let it happen. And that was early on in my career. As I'm getting older and really becoming more confident and comfortable in what I can do, I can sense the difference where I could have stepped in and handled the situation differently. But the problem is that most assistants tend to have less backbone, be less assertive to have that ability. So the more you can empower them, the more assertive they're going to become, the more effective they're going to become, the more empowered, stronger, really creating that, again, sense of ownership. I know I've said it a lot, but that sense of ownership is so important to create this real strategic business partnership that you're trying to get. So you say, letting them ask that question to you, giving them permission to speak to you, to speak into your business, into what you're doing, and say, like, is this really the best use of your time? Or should we be refocusing? Or should I take this off of your lap? Giving them that ability, that permission to be able to ask those hard questions and to push back a little bit is really going to unlock everything. One of the biggest unlocks that an assistant can really bring to the table, and I mean like a good assistant can really bring to the table, is managing priorities with you. So letting them step in and really help build out that priority management system will really unlock your time, your day, your effectiveness 100%. So I would imagine, like most of us, you're probably pretty good at writing, whether it's a checklist or, just sitting at the end of the week or at the beginning of the week and saying like, hey, I need to go through and line out some of the things I need to do this week. Most of us are good at that. Most of us have a running checklist of to-dos and the things we need to accomplish. The tricky part is that most of us take those things, write them down at the beginning of the week, and then don't even revisit it until like maybe Friday. And then you look at Friday and you're like, well, shoot, I didn't do any of that this week, or I only got a couple of those things barely started, whatever it is. But I would bet you that it's not nearly as effective as you would like it to be, right? So letting your assistant sit with you, a couple times a week, building that out into Asana, letting an assistant sit with you like maybe Mondays, Fridays, like I always call it bookending the week, where you start the week with them and then you end the week with them strong. Go through and really get strategic alignment around what your priorities are, because from there, your assistant can actually take those items off of your, priority list from Monday and be able to actually put them on your calendar and work with you through the week to ensure that those things actually are getting done. So it really prevents that what should I do next energy, because you'll be able to look on your calendar and see what the next week you're supposed to be doing is. And your assistant should have set you up for success to make sure that you can actually have the tools and systems in place to do the things that you're lined out to do. Number 2, lead intake and warm lead follow-up. So this really can come with your assistant being able to come in and take over adding leads to your CRM, creating follow-ups, following up with warm leads, even whether it's like making calls or, sending out emails. You can give them the scripts they need and all the extra information they might need to help ensure that that's done the right way. It all comes down to building out processes and systems, which a good EA is generally really good at doing anyways. So letting them be part of that process creation, letting them step in and help you build that out, create that, and then implementing it also. And not only that, when it becomes a thing that takes up so much time from their day that they're having a harder time keeping up with being an actual assistant, they'll know how to do those things well enough to be able to coach somebody else, to train somebody else to do that if you wanted to bring in a lead manager or somebody else to actually take that over eventually. And then the third thing that you can really implement quick and easy this week would be calendar and meeting ownership. So they let your assistant come in and truly just take over running your calendar. Now, I can't tell you how many times executives are, oh my gosh, you guys are just notorious for not fully delegating complete access and ownership of this to your assistant. I can't tell you how many times where, me as an assistant through my career, where I would go through and I would be trying to put something on a calendar and have a space saved for somebody, and my exec would just come in and be like, well, I took that space and used it for something else. And you're like, oh, I was waiting on so-and-so to tell me they needed that, they were going to accept the spot I offered them. And now I have to go through and have a whole nother conversation. So delegating that out to your assistant and actually letting them own it, and you not putting things on your calendar without running it by your assistant first, is generally the best way to go. But it's really tricky to feel comfortable, confident doing so. So you need to get on the same page with your assistant to make sure that you guys both have clarity around where things can go, where things should go, how smoothly you want it to run. I'm gonna, throw my Dan Martell fangirl thing out here right now and just say he has a solid process called like the perfect week. If you got his book, you could go through and read through it and find a really solid way to build out your perfect week and get that clarity with your assistant to line that out. But if that's a process you'd like to go through, I'd be happy to walk through it in a coaching call or something with you sometime. So feel free to reach out. But this calendar situation, just passing that off to your assistant, letting them own the calendar, own scheduling appointments, and ensuring that these things are effectively lined out every week for you so you don't have to think about that. I mean, one less thing to think about. Who doesn't want that, right? That needs to be something that they can go through. They can say no on your behalf. They can say yes on your behalf. They can add things. They can pull things. They can move things. They can organize things, that you don't have to do it. So look, if you're serious about offloading that chaos that you feel every single day so you can scale and really grow your business the way you want to, we'll help you hire and train your EA to run this engine with you. Whether it's hiring, onboarding, partnership and process building, we got you. You don't need to do it all to grow. You just need the right support. So schedule a call with us today or find more information over at thekickassistant.com and let us unlock you.